So, I have a broken string. It's one of my sympathetic strings on the Dilruba. There's 16 of these sympathetic strings on this side. How will I change it? This particular one was from the end darab, the end knob. There's a few steps to changing the string. I'll take you through it. Firstly, you will need all this equipment. I'm replacing my copper string with a steel string, and it's 0.3 millimeters gauge. It helps to have small wire cutters and another wire cutter, which is actually not a wire cutter, just a holder of the wire. And this little plastic, like cocktail stick, is very useful as well. So you can see the string was normally wrapped around like that, but it snapped, and I have cleaned up, pulled out all the old wire from this side. And now we need to pull the wire out from the other side. As you can see, it's a bit confusing, there's so many wires, but if I just find the right one and a bit fiddly, but pulling it through the bridge, careful of any kinks, this makes it harder to get out. Okay, so I've pulled it out, and now if you notice on this side, it's been threaded through. Let's see if we can focus that. A little loop. So I'm pushing it through, back out. Oops. Okay, pulled it out. And then push it up. And you can see all they did at the end was bend the wire, and that's about 15 millimeters. So the length from there to there is 15 millimeters, and it's bent back round again. The reason it's that length, oops, hold on. So just pull out the wire, and the reason the loop was that length is because on the edge we don't want it to go longer than that. So when we loop the edge, we don't want it to be longer than that, otherwise it will stick out at the bottom. And I had to trim that one, otherwise they're a bit sharp. You could prick yourself. Now as you do this, dispose of the old string carefully, because these ends are very sharp, and I have you don't want to step on it, and you don't want for it to prick you in the finger. Okay, next step, unravel the new wire. Okay, I have unraveled it. Now, anything you do with this wire, be careful not to put a kink into it, otherwise it's no good. Okay, now I take the end, just one end. I'm going to bend it over about 15 mil. Okay. So you can see I've bent it over, hopefully it's in focus. That's 15 mil, that's all we need. So you can see once I put it in, it's not going to be longer than the edge. Now take the other end, find the hole, put it through, grab the other end, thread it through, and see it's going in. Okay. So you can see I've got a little bit sticking out. And then I grab the other end. And thread it through. And push it down. So I've pulled it through the loop, and this end has to go through the correct hole in the bridge. Okay, and we just pull it through carefully because we don't want, when it loops like this, we don't want any kinks. So we have to be careful. Except my make sure that stays down. So I got through here. It's gone through there. It's gone through the hole. Okay. Now we'll move to the other side. The tricky bit now is to get this string under the top wires, but above the other sympathetic strings. You don't want to accidentally entangle it in the other strings, which is what I did once. And you want to go under the frets. What I found is if I just use this edge and slide it along here, it keeps it away from the other strings. And I can just thread it through. See, it's the end. If I try and do it from here, the end goes all over the place. It goes under the other strings. It's a bit random. It's hard to control. Although this one's not too bad this time. So you can just pass it through carefully. And if you keep it towards this edge, it's a bit easier to manage. So I found if I just slide it across, see, it's jumped back again. I'm sure there's probably an easier way to do this, but for now, I will struggle along. So that the end is trying to come out. It's like a snake sliding through. Anyway, I will do that and come back to you in a second. Okay, I've managed to thread it through. Now there's a couple of things you have to keep an eye on. See the string is through all the way, but we need to make sure the string is going to go around the last screw, the correct screw. We can do that afterwards as well. The important thing now really is to get this threaded through. There's a hole there, will come out here, so you can see the string here. It's come through and down here. So we'll do that. And I find it's easy to use this plier holder. Don't know what the proper name is. And oops. If you grab the end, leave about a couple of centimeters, Then from the other end, carefully look, find the hole, and thread it through. It worked first time. And grab it here. Okay. The next thing is how to tie it into the ring. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, so this is what I do. Take the string, push it through on the left hand side of the bar inside, because you can see this string is also going on the left hand side of the bar. So push that through. Oops. Make sure this is around the screw. Okay. Then I flip it over and there's a hole there. Can you see? There's a hole there. And we want to go, so we're going to go on the left hand side of the bar. Flip it over. See the hole? Yeah. Then push this through the hole. A bit hard to see. Okay, I've pushed that through the hole. Flip it back. You can see, can you see? The wire has come through. And I find that if you could take this wire, it's gone on the left, gone underneath, come up through the hole, and if you just tuck it under the original wire, so if I tuck it under, you can see it's quite fiddly. There we go. All right. So hopefully you can see the wire's gone through the left, underneath, and come back under. And that's all we need. Just once again, make sure this, before we start tightening, make sure this is over this, in the right place over the screw. Okay, so looking good. And now, righty-tighty, turn right, clockwise, and it should start getting tighter. You see it's very, see the bar inside is turning, and as it's turning, it's getting tighter. And if I just pluck the string, you'll hear it'll get so loose at the moment. I need to do it faster. There's quite a lot of wire was left over. Oh, that's sounding better. So I'm definitely turning the right knob. Pitch is getting higher. So that, my friends, is how to change a string on the Dilruba, a sympathetic string. It's no different for the other strings really. Just keep an eye on which side to thread it through. So that way, all these knobs, if I turn them right, they're all righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And if you have to change any of the other knobs, ones further up, Yes, just look at another one and see which way it starts threading. And now the next job is to tune it. But that's a different lesson. Bye. Bless you.